Welcome to Pagan Coffee Talk. I'm Oswan, and I have with me Lord Night. There's been this thing that's been going around, and I'd like to talk about it today, where people are saying, well, I'm a kitchen witch, or this is green magic, this is that, and this is that, and it just seems like all they're doing is putting everything
Commercializing.
commercializing and putting everything into a box.
Yes, it's exactly what in the world they're doing. Just because you're a witch and you cook doesn't make you a kitchen witch. Just because you do herbs does not make you a herbalist witch. It doesn't quite work like that. If you're an herbalist, we refer to you, especially in our tradition, we're going to refer to you as an apothecary, not as a green witch.
Right.
All right. If you're a cook and you've gone to school and you have become a chef, we're going to refer to you as a chef. Don't get me wrong. Can we put aspects of our religion into this? But we can put aspects of our religion into every part of our life.
Of course we can.
So when somebody going to come up with witchcraft accounting?
Well, that's numerology.
I'm being serious though. When are we going to have witchcraft bookkeeping? When are we going to start having witchcraft car fucking repair? Here's the question we got to ask ourselves as a community. How far are we willing to go on to watch people box up, produce, put into little categories so they could put this crap on a shelf and sell it? All right. Pat Robertson only wish he had half the marketability that craft comes up with.
True.
All right. Now, again, don't get me wrong. I understand people have occult stores and all this, but having those occult stores are also the ones that sit there and where, I hate to be this way, big corporations like Walmart and Target and all those other places look at these stores and look how much money they're making. They're going, I want a piece of that. So now we're going to start selling off this shit that we've gotten it, from China that's dirt cheap from slave labor. And we're going to sell it off and make people think they're witches. To me, this is the disgrace of our religion.
Yeah, I think so too.
If you're going to sell herbs, take the classes, become an apothecary, and run an apothecary store. Does that make sense?
Right. You can, if a fellow witch comes in, you can always incorporate something into that, but just make it an apothecary store. Because that's what it is.
Or when a witch comes in and whatever, and they're like, hey, look, here's the list of stuff I need. From that list, you might be able to figure out, okay, top ingredients most witches use: frankincense, myrrh, sandalwood.
Mm-hmm.
If I see any combination of these three at the top, I'm going to go, you have my attention.
Right.
What else you got on here? That's fine and dandy, but run a bookstore. Quit running the occult shops, because the more we do this, the more specialized those stores become, the more expensive stuff gets too.
Yeah, that's very true. There's a local store, and he kind of keeps his prices low, but he owns the building, so he really has no overhead.
True. But would he have more customers if he would convert to an apothecary? Did you see what I'm saying?
He might. I don't know.
You could still sell some of the crystals and stuff like that, because, an apothecary is nothing more than a fancy word for pharmacy.
Right.
It was, the pharmacies before we had pharmacists.
Very true.
Because again, most people don't realize most of the medicines that we take come from these herbs and stuff that witches are using.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. We're talking about real medicines, real compounds, even without magic, that can affect you. There are certain drugs that you got to be careful of and look up for interactions between that and certain herbs.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's just like when you go to the doctor, they want to know any supplements you take. So if you're taking, turmeric or garlic or whatever supplement you're taking, they need to know that because there could be potential interactions between medications.
Well, I know of one medication you can't have large amounts of ginger. I mean, you can probably go out to a Chinese restaurant, that's fine, but taking it every day will actually interfere with the medicine because certain chemicals build up in your body after a while.
Exactly.
What I see out there is these people treating this stuff flippantly and wanting to label it and just call it whatever to sell it or to get you, or this is the only place you can learn kitchen witchery. No, you could actually go to your local community college and take chef classes, cooking classes. You're going to get the same info.
Right.
And to make it even worse, probably at a cheaper cost because you put the word witch on there, it becomes a specialty item, and specialty items cost more.
Right.
You go to any specialty shop,
Mm-hmm.
a coffee cup in a specialty shop compared to one that's not in a specialty shop, you're paying for the customization.
Right.
Do you really need to spend $70 on a clay chalice just because it's got a pentagram on it versus one that don't? One that you can pick up for
Right.
$25. Same thing, it just don't have somebody didn't take the time to paint a pentagram on there. Really? This is why I have a problem with this. These people that do this kitchen witchery, magic's magic. If you can do a love spell, if you can do a money spell, if you can do any of these, you can also do necromancy. It's the same fucking formula. You're just dealing with the dead. And I'm sorry, if you've done your training right, you already know those rules.
Very true.
So what's the difference?
I was going to say, I know we've talked about this before, and that magic is magic. It doesn't matter what kind of magic it is, it's still magic. It's all coming from the same place. But I wanted to kind of address this for a specific reason to kind of put this to rest. Because we're still hearing it, and it's like you've been saying, it's all coming from the same place.
Yeah.
Quit trying to capitalize on whatever kitchen witchery, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Just quit trying to capitalize on it. Quit trying to put everything in a box.
Right.
Yes, there are different styles of magic that you can do. Like you said, there's necromancy, there's divination, there's any number of different types of magic that you can do.
Right.
But it's all magic. It's all coming from the same damn place.
Nothing has changed. It's still what it is. And I can understand, even in our tradition, when you study for your second degree, we require you to have a specialty. All right. And that's just a subject that you have learned. We would prefer you to do something that would be helpful to craft.
Right.
Or to the temple.
Like being an apothecary or something along those lines.
Well, I mean, I hate to be this way. If you got somebody in your temple young enough, become a lawyer. That can be your specialty.
Right.
Being a doctor is still a specialty. These things have nothing to do with craft per se. Make sense?
But you can definitely apply it to.
Exactly. Just remember that specialty is that you have learned some type of skill or well, I don't want to say skill, profession, and that's it. Because let's look back in time. We've discussed this before. When you look at the Druid class, all right, and I use them because it's a little bit easier to do this with them compared to some of the other ones. They were doctors, they were lawyers, but they were also Druids. They were also farmers.
Right. Well, they had a profession, but they were also Druids.
Right. They were blacksmiths and Druids. These were their jobs. This is where we get this from. This is where this specialty comes from.
Right.
Are there specialties related just to the occult and craft? Yes.
Sure, there are. Yeah.
But I hate to be this way. And here's where I'm probably going to piss off a lot of people. We got enough herbalists. We got enough fucking kitchen witches. We need lawyers and doctors. We need therapists. We need people that understand our religion in these professions
Right.
that we
No,
can
I completely.
that we can go to. All right. How about this? Why don't we quit encouraging people, because everybody knows herbalism like crazy. All right. There's 50,000 books out there. There's 50,000 classes out there. Why don't you quit doing that and try something else?
Right. Well, I mean, there are some people like Lady Keegan. I mean, she was drawn to herbalism, and we can't discourage people from doing that. But if you don't feel like you're absolutely drawn to something, then go with something else. It doesn't have to be directly related to craft.
But not that I'm trying to pick on Lady Keegan or anything. She did her classes great and all that, but she also has, my understanding, she also has a bachelor's degree in education.
Right. And well, I know she's using that to teach homeschool her kids.
Right. And I know I discussed with her doing, maybe doing classes for those who want to homeschool but follow a pagan tradition.
Yeah, like creating a course, a homeschool course.
Right. This I don't have a problem with, but again, she's using a degree that most people wouldn't think have anything to do with craft.
Right.
This I like. Again, there's nothing wrong with this. We need teachers. We need people that are educated as teachers and lawyers and doctors and nurses and oh my and bears and I mean, I hate to be this way. I would love to see some forest rangers who were pagan, to where they could, gather up some of the kids or maybe some of the more younger adults and take them outside, especially the guys, and show them how to track animals down in the wild so they can go hunting.
Right. That would be really cool.
Which plants to get, which plants won't. There's actually a YouTuber I've actually seen, which I actually like, and she does gardening, but it's all the herbs and stuff like that. She goes over on how to take care of them.
Oh, nice.
And why the herbs are stuff that we use in craft and stuff like that, but she's showing you how to grow them. This is a phenomenal channel. But this to me is a whole lot more useful than, hey, yet another person going out talking about green witchery. There's no such thing. It does not exist. It's not real. Every witch should be trained to some degree of herbalism. So that way they understand what they don't know.
Right. Absolutely.
All of us should be trained to some cooking because, again, you're going to have to cook for yourself at some point or another. So sitting there calling it kitchen witch when it's something everybody can do is not what you think. The stuff that they put into this stuff that I see, this is not nothing we don't already know just in regular craft.
Right.
And if all you're doing is like herbalism and making up incense, why? If you got to go out and buy incense from somebody and you haven't learned how to mix up enough to do a full moon or just your regular, what you need to, where's your teachers? Where's your elders? Oh, that's right. We can't use elders anymore. God forbid we actually have authorities.
Well, and heaven forbid anybody seek out a teacher. Everybody wants to do it on their own, and then they complain, well, I don't have access to this and I don't have access to that. So I'm going to turn to social media and I'm going to turn to Reddit. I'm going to turn to all these different places and I'm going to ask questions. Okay, well, if you had a teacher, you would already have somebody to answer your questions. Just saying.
Well, at least guide you along.
I mean, I don't understand. People don't want teachers, but they turn to Discord and Reddit and TikTok and YouTube, and they ask questions there.
And yeah, and then you go through the
But
answers.
you don't want
and
a
it,
teacher.
right. And then when you go through the answers, you got like 50,000 people telling you 50,000 different ways, and half of them contradict one another.
Right? And you still have to go muddle through all that crap to find something that works for you.
Exactly.
Wouldn't it be easier just to have one or two people you could turn to?
What would be better if, and I know a lot of people are going to hate this, but if the pagan community was a hell of a lot more fucking organized than it is right now.
True.
We had that council way back in the day, and I can't remember what it was called, and they sort of cemented some ideas. You hear Ray Buckland and all of them talk about this.
Right, but
Right?
unfortunately that didn't last.
Well, no, it didn't last, but the stuff that they put there, they put out by putting out what the 13 goals of a witch was, certain things that we needed to do. They put out the Wiccan Read, so we have a little bit of wisdom there. They put out the laws and stuff like that. Then people came in and was just like, oh, well, I don't like that, so I'm not going to use that. I'm not even going to study it because that to me just seems stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
And you never learned what it was about to begin with just on a whim because you didn't like a color or something. What?
Right. I mean, come on.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not like the biggest on the whole tarot card things and like all these unboxing shit. I just think this is like crap. The people that do these videos, these are the most unoriginal people whatsoever.
Well, and again, it goes back to the whole commercialization of, trying to put everything into categories and then market that. If you would just stop and get back to craft, I think things would be a whole lot better.
Well, it's starting to make me wonder, the more you see this stuff and these people like, oh, here, spend this money on this classes, and we're about to have them kind of start up again. And, even a couple of $100. Are you more worried about your pocketbook than teaching me? Are you more worried about making money than you are making sure I have the right herbs?
Right. I have to say that's one reason we never charged for classes is that's not what we're here for. We're not here to make money. Would it be nice to have some money to support our actions? Yes, but pretty much we've got our support and we're not there to charge for that knowledge.
Well, I mean, it's the same concept that we used to have about why no, it's not unethical for us to sell spells and do spells for other people. There's nothing ethically wrong with that. Morally, though, I kind of go, because again, I can see how easy it would be to go down this rabbit hole. Well, here, we'll do this $5 spell. Oh, that didn't work for you? Well, here, let's do this $20 spell then. Because then my question becomes, are the spells failing that you're doing because you want them to get a $20 spell or a $40 spell? When does greed come in there? When does the con start?
Oh, that's another subject altogether.
Well, I mean, but there's my argument there on this is where does it actually start? I don't know too many witches that start off doing this stuff like this going, well, hey, it's just a spell for a neighbor, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, you're doing a spell every other weekend or lighting a candle for somebody. What point do you start going, well, hey, this is my living. This is what I got to do. I know there was one gentleman I said this to, and his automatic response was, well, I'm disabled. Well, so are a lot of other people, and they don't sell their goddamn souls to make money.
Right. I mean, if you want to go down this rabbit hole, we can, because then you're also looking at what is the cost of doing that? What's it costing you? Is it costing you your soul? Is it costing you your physical health?
Is it costing you your reputation?
Right.
I mean, the way Lord Men explained this to me, and the way we used to do it in the old days was if you're taking money for a spell or a reading, it's a con. That's how we separated ourselves from the con artist. If you're taking money, it's a con. If by chance you happen to stop by the grocery store and pick up a few items that you know somebody might need, go by their house and drop them off and then pull out some tea. Oh, look, here, I got you some tea. Let's try some of this Earl Grey.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and now we're done. Here, why don't you read my tea leaves right quick? Did this person pay for their reading? No. What did they do? They brought the person some food. They took care of the person.
Right.
Does that make sense? When Lord Ben always told us when we do spells, hey, we're putting a spell together for you, right? And we need these
Mm-hmm.
herbs. And I don't have them in stock. So I give you a list. Hey, go to this place right here, buy these herbs in these amounts. I'm going to double that order. That's my cost.
Right.
That's how I get paid. Because I'm not going to use all that for their spell, but I might use the other half to make some teas and just sell them off as tea, not as, ooh, this tea will help your meditation. No, it's just tea.
Right.
Yeah, this one's good for relaxing. That's good for this and whatever, but nothing substantial, nothing that you wouldn't be able to sell grandma from the little Baptist church up the road.
Right.
She's going to be sitting back going, oh, yeah, I like that Russian black tea. Yeah, that you make. Yeah.
That was so good. I had some
Right.
of that tea and I felt so relaxed.
And your double blended, mint tea with the most the mint and the, what is that? The forest mint.
Yeah.
Oh, tea was great. Which I know as soon as you put mint in something, hey, that's a little bit more associated with wealth and prosperity.
Right.
I can rip open that tea bag and turn it into an incense real fast.
Yeah.
Or I can drink the tea
Absolutely.
and still do my own spell. I don't have a problem with this, but this is how this industry used to work. And this is
Right.
how we separated ourselves from the con artist. Because it was easier to sit there and go, okay, if they're charging you money, they're probably a con artist. If you want to buy all the damn crystals and stuff, buy them. You're going to pay the price for them. But I'm sorry, if you're getting them from a specialty shop, they're going to be twice as much as what you could from a regular retailer.
Oh, you better believe it.
Because here's your problem. These witch shops only have a few people coming to them.
Right.
So they have to raise the prices higher. Unlike going to somewhere like Target or Walmart, where they're going to have thousands of people there, so they can lower their prices because we sell more. We're going to make the same amount of money as that person over here on their specialty store are going to have to double, only sell one for our 10.
Right.
The difference of why these specialty shops cost so much because, yeah, they got a smaller clientele.
Right.
Because I think it's only in probably certain parts of the country where you might get people, little old ladies from the church stopping by certain occult shops to pick up certain things
Right.
and paying for spell. Oh, no, I don't do witchcraft. That's what she's for. She does it. I just tell her who to do it on and pay her for it.
Right.
I mean, this does happen in certain parts of the countries and some smaller areas. But again, these are like some of the probably the more old time witches like I'm used to.
Right. No
But no,
mercy.
the commercialization of our religion bothers me. And it bothers me because, again, I see it as people are selling off my religion. And I'm sorry, how many people want to walk into Walmart and see their religions wrapped up in plastic on a shelf going, hey, for only $9.95, you too can become a witch?
Well, Walmart's a little more subtle about it.
Well,
They're not gonna.
again, and how many Christians are going to get upset when they walk into Walmart and see a package? Oh, here, start your own church, become a Southern Baptist. All you need is this little box.
True.
Do you think the Muslim community would put up with that? Do you think the Christian community would put up with this?
Probably not.
I mean, they have the whole, because I've seen their little bookstores and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I remember back in the day when those were all over the place, and those stores were sky high.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
notice
used
how
to go into
fast,
some of those stores. Yeah.
and notice how fast they went out of business, and all of a sudden, these big box stores started to carry that stuff instead.
Well, I don't see a lot of the specialty items that they used to carry in the big box stores. The big box stores they're carrying things like Bibles and
Right. I mean,
Bible study books and things like
but
that.
now you can go on Amazon and find any of that stuff, whatever you want, for a whole lot cheaper.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I mean, here's my thing to our pagan community. How much longer until y'all can't open y'all store because it costs too much?
Right.
Because you could buy this stuff on Amazon cheaper. We talk about the commercialization of stuff, but I don't ever see anybody going, no, we're done with this. We're not doing it. We're not spending our money.
Right. I mean, they'd still rather go to a specialty store and pick up their stuff.
But see, I could sit here and argue like Lord Men did, and I understand why he got upset. Y'all could spend all this money on all this crap, is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
All the Green Witch books and the 50,000 billion that are out there that ain't nothing but the same regurgitated stuff over and over again. There's nothing new out there. Nobody's doing anything new. That's like going to all these channels. Oh my God, there are so many channels for newbies, but nothing else, nothing advanced, nothing more.
Well, and I'm sorry, all the newbie stuff is the same thing over and over again. It's just like the books. It's all regurgitated information. There's nothing new.
Well, until as a community, we start demanding more and we start investing in our religions, in our temples, these people that study and swear their lives to this. Where's our temple? Where's our cathedrals?
Right.
I see nothing. I can go out, we live in the South, and I can go outside right now and think in less than 5 minutes away, and we live pretty far out in the country. I could think of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 churches within less than 15 minutes of us.
Oh yeah.
Go out, try to find an actual temple to Isis, find a temple to anywhere, to the Druids, to anything. You don't find jack shit because what? Our community's spending money on crap that they don't need instead of investing actually in our temples.
Right. Well, now some people are going to say, well, we don't need all that. Well, if you don't need all that, then why are you spending your money on junk?
On junk. How does it help you to have 50,000 tiger eyes? Seriously, how does that help?
No.
How does that help anybody?
Or a house full of crystals, or house full of little knickknacks and stuff just floating all around. You don't need a house full of stuff like that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand rock collection. All right. But that's rock collecting. You're collecting up small pieces of what you find out in nature. You're not going.
Well,
rock collectors I know
rock
don't.
Collectors, they don't buy. They go out and they get.
They do. Funny. They do.
They do the physical work to get those rocks, to get those crystals. Lady Alba, she's a rock collector, but she goes out and gets her stuff. She does the physical work.
Well, I think that's all I got to say about that. All right. I guess we'll see y'all all next week.
Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another episode. Pagan Coffee Talk is brought to you by Life Temple and Seminary. Please visit us at lifetempleseminary.org to learn more. You can also find links to all our social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit.
We travel down this trodden path, a maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning